Happy Friday! Karibuni sana to hashtag TTTT. We're all about what's been happening this week on the internet, in real life, in your life. Mambo ni mengi, but thank you so much for choosing us. My name is Mariam Bishar. As always, I have an amazing panel with me. Tuko na watu wengi hapa. Father Martin, now you may know him as Daddy Mato. Martin Givinji. Salimia watu, just give them a little wave. Brian Aseli, my fantastic co-host, hapa asubuhi.
What's happening, baby? How you doing?
Cindy Ogana, who has
Mariam and Brian, no, this is not the breakfast show.
Oh, sorry.
It's our show now.
No. Wait, it is what it is.
We are not third wheels. You will start chatting. Remember,
but there's two of you and two of us. Sasa, if you can't match up, is that really our problem?
It's not our problem. It doesn't look like our
problem. But it's so good to have you guys in studio. I hope your weeks have been good so well. Highlights Hatuna, but I want to get into a story that immediately I saw it, nilisikia appetite imepotea. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but every time you go outside and you want to eat like a nice smoky pasua, a mayai pasua, a smocha, you're just like, you're praying to God that you get home in one piece. Ama muturais kwaribikie, but my God. There's a story that's raising eyebrows and some health concerns along Thika Road. This is what happened now. Some of the smoky and mayai pasua vendors have been spotted storing their food trolleys at the Kenha public toilets. Now, we all have, we love a good roadside snack, but this has people questioning the safety of our favorite bites and where they're kept. Let's look at that clip. Guys, it's only cuts the smoky pasua.
Mimi naitwa Msilia.
Sema.
Mimi nimesimamia mazingira ya gatuzi la Nairobi.
Okay.
Wewe ndio una manage hii choo ya Kenya iko hapa Thika Road?
Sisi ndio tuna manage.
Hii choo, hizi trolleys zinawekwa ndani za mayai.
Wenyewe si wako hapo, wajue ndio wangefaa kuambiwa.
Za kuuza mayai, smokies, sausage, kebabs, iko kwa choo ndani. Na hapo awali nilikuwa nimepeana warning, onyo kwa wale wanauza trolleys na mayai na smokies na kebabs na hizo chakula.
Yo. Guys, let me start with Cindy because when was the last time you had a smoky pasua by the roadside? And how would you feel knowing your trolley liko kwa choo?
I won't lie, right outside our workplace, we have a guy who sells choma smocha. And once in a while, you know, once in a while you have to help people, you know, pay rent and that sort of stuff. Because I trust him, because I know him. Because I know where he stores his stuff. Now, the guys were in downtown, and some of the things I seen down, like there's this kawaru. I don't know if you've seen it. It's huge. It looks like it has fur. You know, it's just...
It has fur.
Like, I don't know. It's very weird looking. And, you know, I see even the andomas. Yes. And the uko. And I'm like, is this why they're extra salty? I don't know.
Good Lord.
I don't know. Because at this rate, by the way, cholera is an outbreak. But this is Kenya. At the end of the day, when the hunger pangs come, especially after the weekend, you've gone out, you need 1, 2, 3 just to help digest a couple of things to, you know, decompress your liver. And there's this guy who's selling smoky. Those things slap. They seriously slap. But I guess this fight, there hasn't been any outbreak. Our tummies are really resilient. It does not mean that it's a good thing. It's just that, and we've seen in the clip, there has been warnings, but guys are still storing it, storing the carrier in public toilets. So I think what this guy is doing, the county council guy, is really great. But at the end of the day, he's not doing anything to stop you know what I mean, the business and the trade. I'm beginning to feel it's more about him and his publicity, and I will not be surprised if he runs for an MCA seat 2027. That's how skeptical I've become. Now it's time to put action. Stop recording people, breaking the law, and do something about it.
I agree.
I think I actually agree on that one, because you're not going to congratulate people for doing their job or not doing their job. For example, I think the County Council of Nairobi should also identify the needs of the business people, and of course identify areas where either they can be giving people storage for an amount of money or something like that, because this thing is actually going to continue. I'm just trying to imagine the rodents, the cockroaches, the kind of viruses that we are going to actually nab from such unhealthy practices. it's quite devastating, if I may say.
It's really devastating. Before you even talk Mato, let me ask you, when people say like, oh, unajua mutura lazima kukwe na giza ndio slap.
Of course.
When you make it at home, it doesn't taste the same. Is this the secret ingredient?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was about to judge Cindy and Aseli, but I remembered yesterday, in case you're the only person in Kenya who does not know, niko kwa mjengo sahi ninasaidiana kujenga nyumba mahali. Now that means you have to walk towards Gikomba once in a while. Yeah. So yesterday, I was walking with my son. First thing he said was, hey, this place is stinking. He's 7 years old. Hajawahi fika mahali kama Gikomba.
Yeah.
This place is so dirty. Kambia, don't worry. Sometimes there are people who live like this. Wewe shukuru Mungu, unaishi mahali unaishi. Alafu, I took him for his first experience of street food. I am happy that I did not see this video before I took him because I would not have taken him.
Street food ni wewe.
Tukachukua, mimi nikakula, mimi nikagongewa mayai, yeye akapewa smoky pasua. Niko na alama hapa hivi. Nilijiuma nikikula yesterday. Nilijiuma nikikula hiyo mayai.
Lakini
Mato, ukweli ni first off, sio ati hamujui Cindy, sio ati haujui. Hizo trolley zinakuaga places kama hizo. Ni venye first of all hautaki kuamini, secondly you want to trust this person because the truth is the kind of things that are even in those, especially the nyanyas that they use for the kachumbari, the water that they use to clean it, the mafuta, that they use to
I'll say this just because, has anyone ever seen someone in a mat with a smoky pasua trolley?
Inside a mat.
Or walking home? No. So how do they carry those trolleys home? You're absolutely right. We've been living in, I don't know what to call it. Blind.
To agree on one thing. Afadhali tunagongewa mayai na tugongewi.
You guys.
It's
not even.
Afadhali ni mayai
tunagongewa.
Hey, let's agree on another thing. What stories za kugongewa might be neither here nor there, but I really want to know, guys, genuinely, will you still eat street food after seeing something like this?
Absolutely, yes.
Why not? No, come on, Brian.
For the culture, I'm telling you, you're not going to stop anyone from eating street food because it's in the culture. Yes. You know what's going to happen? For the next 1-2 weeks, people are going to be sensitized and serious and talking about health concerns. And then after that,
back to normal.
Yes.
Have you seen street food in India? Have you seen
street food in
Thailand? And tourists clamor to eat the street food in Thailand.
Pack their stuff in the toilet. Come on.
You're not getting it, Cindy. In India, kama wanakutengenezea tuseme kitu kama chai, wananawa hapo ndani.
Wananawa na hiyo chai.
Wananawa hapo hivyo wakikutengenezea chai yako polite.
That's very true. I've seen several videos that have gone viral on TikTok. Indian street food, if you think your stomach is strong because you're Kenyan, I dare you to go and try in New Delhi, Cindy. I dare you. Ati unasema, oh, nimekula smoky pasua ya hapa, or fries mwitu. No. It's a different level.
Uko wanaosha miguu kwa chakula.
Get out of town.
I wish it was a lie.
Ushie kunywa supu ya mguu.
What are your maneno?
Na sio supu ya ng'ombe.
Let's take a short break now, guys. We have to take a short break. We'll be right back. #TTTT. Please let us know. Unakula street food from now, or you're taking a short break from it, or a permanent break? We'll be back in a bit with some of your comments. #TTTT is where it's at. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us, choosing NTV this fine evening. We're making sure you know what's happening around you. Kama smoke yako iko na extra layer of seasoning. But we're also talking about some really serious things happening in the country. Mambo ni mengi. Imagine being a new mom, you're exhausted, you're vulnerable, only to find that where you're meant to be sleeping, hakuna an extra bed. You find yourself sharing a bed with 2 other moms, all while being charged for your own bed. Now, there's no bed at all in some places, and mothers are forced to sleep on the floor with their newborns. No mattress, just the cold, cold ground. I know you guys saw this story.
Yeah.
Where do I even begin? Let me begin with the mom in the room, Cindy. 3 moms plus babies on 1 bed. Where are we as a country?
I have a really controversial point of view, and this is in the naming and the branding of an institution. For example, and I'm naming institutions that exist, not trying to implicate anybody. In Eldoret, there is the Chandaria Center for Cancer, and it was named after the Chandaria family, namely Nwani Chandaria, not only for his contribution, but also, not only because of his name, but also the contribution he's done in society. We have, before it was Russia, now we have Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Hospital from Russia. When a hospital bears a name, I feel it is a responsibility of the family to also come together and do something to ensure that the reputation of the name and the family name is not toiled. It would be nice if Mama Lucy Kibaki, the family, could do something with the hospital. This is me coming as wearing my fundraiser's hat, so that the reputation of the hospital is not always tarnished by things that are not working. I understand that the hospital was named during the tenure of Mwai Kibaki in loving memory of his wife, but unfortunately the hospital's name is always associated with things that are not right. So it would be nice as a fundraising gesture, get your people together, do a fundraising dinner, put an in fact, that would be a nice rebuttal to what is going on. Create an antenatal unit where moms have their fee half taken care of. You know, where there are beds. It is such an abomination, I feel, for a name, for a hospital to have such a weighty name and for things like this to happen. It really shouldn't. So it breaks my heart. When you're in childbirth and after you've given birth, those the days that follow are very critical, especially if you've done cesarean section. And for you to be in a public hospital sharing beds or sleeping in benches and putting your newborn on the bed so they can have space is heartbreaking. So my call as a fundraiser to the family that has the name behind this hospital, do something philanthropic just to uplift the name of the hospital, and it will go a long way in helping mothers.
I know the hospital and in general, like Linda Mama programs like that, of course, were meant to reduce maternal mortality. But then you wonder if now it's 3 women on one bed, you know, can we not do better for these women and for these moms? Yeah, are we not regressing as we, you know, talk about situations like this matter? What do you think?
All I want to say is that they don't really care about us.
No, they don't.
Period.
Ivo?
Yeah, there's a lot to be said, by the way. And of course, when you talk about maternal health care, especially in a country that is being celebrated for the wrong reasons. One, we are celebrated for one of the most progressive countries in Africa. We are also celebrated for Silicon Valley of Africa. But I'm just looking at what are some of the important issues that we're going through. And keeping in mind, Mariam and I, every day for the past, I don't know, let's say just for the better part of this year, we've been talking about healthcare services in this country. One, I didn't know that poor infrastructure was going to be such a strong point from when I was doing social studies till now.
Yeah.
We need more hospitals, more healthcare practitioners who are paid well because they're taking care of human lives. And also just looking at a situation whereby we are only looking at the maybe major cities, but there's disparity between the rural areas and the urban areas. Hii imeonekana because at least it's in Nairobi and people could record a video and say this is the situation at hand. How about someone huko ndani huko Lugari huko? They are going through the same issue, but then Gava will also do a crackdown and say that how Akunga, you've not been trained, so you're not expected to actually take care of these women who are pregnant. Quite devastated, and it's a sad state of affairs.
I totally agree. It feels like we're being shafted, left, right, center, anywhere you look. You're a new mom who's just delivered, you have to share a bed with 2 other moms and their babies plus your baby. You're a student trying to get an education and you get an opportunity to travel abroad and see the world and see the United States of America, and turns out you're a lecturer. In other news, Joshua Moses Onyango, a former lecturer at USIU, is facing charges after allegedly scamming his students out of 10 million shillings. Onyango, who was the chairman of the International Relations Department, is accused of deceiving 24 students into paying 453,000 shillings each for a fake trip to England, actually, not the US. The trip was supposed to happen in April, but after collecting the money, the guy did what? A disappearing act. Watu wakaanza kuuliza maswali, he became very hostile and kicked them out of the WhatsApp group. Alisaba, you will leave the chat whether or not you like it. Guys, with your 453,000 shillings, he has the audacity to throw you out of the group chat. Father Martin, I see you bending your head. What is going on?
Only in USIU.
First of all, Metuapi 453,000.
USIU. Watu wa KU, UN,
453,000.
There was no 453,000 to go on a trip to England, Matu.
By the way, sio poa. Hebu tuanzie hapo. Acha tuseme tu kweli.
Yes.
Sio poa. As a lecturer, you have the responsibility of offering guidance and protection to these children that you are the teacher of. The wazazi wamekupatia responsibility. Huko, I think it's just that the amount is a lot. Huyu ni mwalimu wa ukweli.
Allah.
Huyu ni mwalimu.
Anafunza na life
Wale
lessons.
if you still big, huyu ni mwalimu.
Life skills, nakwambia. Life skills.
Huyu.
Life skills.
Alafu akafutwa.
Would you call that
Na
a life
ameenda na
skill?
hizo pesa.
Yeah. I love how ukimfuta, I feel like alikuwa ameshajifuta yeye mwenyewe.
Yeah.
With 10 million, why should I stick around? You know, labda ningoje.
I don't enjoy this conversation specifically because Mariam is now sounding like a thief.
Allah.
Unasemaje ati mimi naona kuna 10 million anakatuni kama ako sawa. Mariam, really?
No, but honestly, he had already, I think, removed himself from USIU.
He was fired.
He was fired, or he had disappeared and then they fired him. You know, there's a difference between I make my exit and then you send me a letter, or you send me a letter and then I make my exit. Which came first?
Point ni watu wamegongwa hapa hivi na 453,000. First of all, I like what Mato has said. It can only happen in some institutions and some others haiwezi. Hiyo ni school fees ya mtu plus ameanza kufanya masters kama sio jokes una get. Because there's some unis where you pay up to like 25,000 per month, per semester, and it's quite devastating that we have such teachers. But of course, they are just imitating. And Mariam, remember I was telling you, every country imitates its leadership, and every individual in the country also imitates the highest level of leadership. Whatever you do with that information. Wakati wa Kenyatta, kulikuwa the aspects of mashamba. Wakati wa Kibaki, kulikuwa na the aspects of development, infrastructure. Wakati wa Uhuru, sitaongelelea. Sitaki kuongelelea presidents kutoka hapo. Mimi ni firstborn, watu wananitegemea.
Wanitegemea watu wengi. Cindy, yo, 453 for a trip to the UK, and then he takes you out of the WhatsApp group.
Here's the thing, we could laugh at the institution, but there are guys who are from humble backgrounds who give like 200K to get a job in NYS. I mean, like, seriously. I don't understand what needs to happen for us to realize that if you pay a certain amount to get something, there has to be a deal. There are suit-wearing, masters-bearing, you know, blue-chip company earning guys who still give their cash to schemes at TCG warehouse, will grow fruits on your land and will give you and people believe this story. Till this day, the people who are conned are not necessarily at Iwatu, who are so high-end and can afford the 453, but or people who are very learned. It is all about, I don't know if it's get-rich-quick scheme or if the deal is too good to be true, we don't do our due diligence. Like, this is the deal for me. And at the end of the day, you're being scammed. Yeah, but first of all, no one asks questions. Why am I sending him the cash? You didn't ask your friends. There was no memo or stuff like that.
From like an official uni, you know, account.
There is that, and then there's this part where Mariam, maybe this teacher had been taking people to England for some time, you know. Maybe there was one successful trip, and people came back with photos and stuff like that.
Because that's how you reel
that's how you reel everyone in. It happens in so many cases.
With scams, if you get in early, you'll be lucky.
You profit.
You profit. Then much later, it's like, oops, we have to take another short short break, guys, but we'll be right back. Hashtag is TTTT. Please tell us what you think of these stories. We'll read some of your tweets in just a bit. Hashtag TTTT. It is. We're just about, of course, to get into the next segment. Thank you so much for choosing us. We are talking about things that are happening in Kenya, around the world, and also in Qatar. Now, if you've been looking for a job abroad, then this government has really been the one for you. They've really encouraged Kenyans to go abroad for new opportunities. But Kenyans are a bit angry after the government, through the Ministry of Labor, announced a 3-day interview for jobs in Qatar covering the industry, technical and construction sectors. Watu wakafika huko wakapata, it's a different story. People are looking for few opportunities. Of course, thousands of people showed up. We all know the state of employment in this country. Aseli, is this just another case of it's a day in Kenya, it's Friday in Kenya, or are we actually going to do something about it?
This is, I think, it's actually a special dedication to all the Kenyans out there. It's a book written by the government. It's titled, You Are On Your Own. Skia, kuna unemployment rates in the country. We have 1 million young educated Kenyans that come off the education system and into the job market every year, Mariam. And of course, the government has the responsibility of making sure that we have proper, decent jobs in order for them to have this working task force where they can collect tax from. But guess what? You are not working, but you're still being taxed. And of course, the kind of promises that we're being given in this story, for example, is kujeni, mtapata job. Siku tatu na unatafuta watu wangapi? Just think about it.
Well, really, but it doesn't make sense. Is this an admission of failure, if we are being honest, Cindy, by the government? We are unable to provide you with meaningful employment. So make your way to Qatar or Saudi Arabia or Germany or whatever country it is that they're trying to push people to.
It's an admission of failure and also mediocrity, if you think about it. A government's responsibility is to create employment for its people so they can earn money, the way Brian has said, and they get the tax out of there. But unfortunately, they're overtaxing the ones who are already employed in Kenya. Shout out to everyone who's already gotten their salary. This is the first deduction of SHA. Unatolewa pesa ya chama on your salary, which is now forcing people to probably look for other means of employment that might not be legal, right? Or that might be the embezzlement of funds that our revenue authority are trying to curb.
Yeah.
So you're beaten left, right, and center. It actually doesn't make sense. And I was researching and seeing, okay, which other government applies for its citizens to go and build another economy? It doesn't work. I'm sure their logic is we're creating jobs and there will be remittances back home. But what are you doing back home to ensure that the opportunities there are okay for people to be employed? There was a call for management trainees by the Kenya Power and Lightning Company. They only needed 200 vacancies. Guys, 27,000 unemployed youths applied. They only needed 200. The TSC recently applied for jobs for teachers. They are still not, the Teacher Service Commission is constantly saying that we don't have enough teachers, but when they apply, very few people are taken. What do we want with guys? And we're surprised that the crime rate has gone up. Bodies are being chopped up and being found in different parts of this country. It's ridiculous.
It is very ridiculous.
For sure, I do understand the dilemma that the government is in. Do we have a lot more people than the government can give jobs to? Yes. Do we have more people coming out every year that still need these jobs? Yes. But I ask, why are we trying to use old solutions for new problems? We are in the 21st century. We need to do things a bit differently. During the time of Wakoloni, I remember somebody was talking about this. During the time of Wakoloni, there is a reason why some people were doing some specific things, because at that time, the government of the day was sort of like a business. Ilikuwa a profit-making business that was meant, it's the East Africa Protectorate. It was supposed to be a business to get profit. Sasa, hii ni serikali ambayo first order of business is supposed to create, it's not even to create jobs, it's create a conducive environment for an economy to thrive. And that is the exact opposite of what the current government is doing. That's why they have even bigger dilemmas of trying to create employment, and they could at least try and not build other countries first. Okay, so tumemaliza kujenga Kenya, imeisha. Hii mjengo imeisha, sasa tufunge hii mjengo. Turudishiane funguo. Funguo inafaa kurudishwa wapi? Britain. Huko ndio funguo ilipeanwa. Come on guys.
You're actually saying the truth, because most of the stats actually show that the rest of the world is moving towards Africa. Why are we sending our brothers and sisters? We've seen the indecent cases that are happening with some of the people who live in Qatar and the kind of jobs that they're being given. Right now, if the government is trying to lure people and telling them, come, let's give you jobs in Qatar. And then from as soon as your relative lands in Qatar, you're not able to know, you're not able to track what's going on. Right. And when they come here, it becomes such a big problem. I've seen people losing their aunties, their moms. Some cases go unreported. We've seen our Kenyans trying to slide videos online, trying to just share their situation in Qatar and all these other countries in the Middle East. Tafadhali serikali, sijui tutalia mara ngapi, but of course it's such a plight right now. Kenyans are not employed. Na watu wamesoma. Kenya has never been this educated, and the world is moving towards Africa. Right. Let's think about it.
Right. Even the fact that you're absolutely right. When we talk about our most skilled labor, you educate people, you grow them, quote unquote, and then you send them away to benefit someone else's economy. Make it make sense, guys. But let's talk about an experience that's also all familiar to so many of us. You're a passenger using a taxi hailing app, and someone did this and shared a video of a ride where a driver allegedly bumped up a fare of 390 shillings to 600 shillings. Now let's look at the clip of this guy asking for 600 na vizuri app inasema 390.
Unataka sosita mbona imeleta sosita? Na kuongezea umenilimia wapi? Acha nikutumie 390 yako bana.
Mimi sitaki, acha.
Utaki?
Alisema kama it's not 600 ya Turkey. I know this has happened to everyone in this room at some point. Ama kuna mtu ajai ambiwa, oh, ongeza kakitu. Cindy, especially as a woman, this is a different layer. Because you start feeling now unsafe for some strange reason.
Let me tell you, and the peeps watching, you can tweet us and let us know. This is very rampant in Mombasa. Have you ever tried hailing a cab in Mombasa?
Yes. Especially from their airport, from Moi International.
Yes!
They don't understand what the app is saying. They don't care.
The first thing they do when they ask you, "Maonesha ngapi?" And they say, "Maonesha 1200." Hapana, mimi sikuji kama haijafika. Kama haijafika 2500 mimi sikuji. They negotiate
before.
Yes,
before.
They negotiate
Thank
before.
you.
Yes.
Because hiyo ya cost pia nimekuwa. Kwanza ananiongelesha hata before niingie kwa gari.
Hata before akuja anakuambia mimi nikikuja ujue ni
that is fine. Hiyo Nairobi tushafika. Anakuambia kama unipatie 600 acha nikurudishe mali nimekutoa. Hata hiyo pesa yako sitaki. That is the difference. Ndio unasema nashindo I cost
Guys,
Nairobi ni kubaya.
We had taxi hailing app drivers striking a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And I think their concerns are very genuine.
Yes.
But also now things got out of hand and we talked about it. So where do we lie on this scale? Mtu anakuuliza 600 na imesema 390. You want people to be paid a fair wage, it makes sense, but pia you're also on a budget. So Aseli, how do you balance these two things?
First of all, wacha tu niwapatie disclaimer out there. If I request for a cab na unibebe kutoka hapa mpaka South Africa na iseme 80 bob, ndakupea 80 bob. Wewe jua tu hivyo. App isikudanganyi. App ikisema the amount that wacha nikwambie, app ikisema an amount of money, ikisema kuna discount Daddy Mato, mimi si lipi extra money. I'm sorry for that. But the level, first of all, there's another level of
Hata katipa Aseli jamani.
Thank you. Decency bana.
Mnawatetea sasa?
Yes. Do you know, actually,
we were 390 na 600. Meona vile hiyo situation ilikuwa inakaa. That's exactly what happens. And Mariam, you've mentioned something very serious. That one, kama ni chali, mna argue mpaka mnafika mahali it's mano a mano, like mnapelekana mbio. Imagine if it's a young lady, what would have happened to her? Unaona, in a situation whereby it's just a man and a woman, what would have happened to her? We've seen so many cases.
But the safety aspect, I agree, Aseli. It's very uncomfortable.
True.
But I also think it's possible sometimes, ikisema 80 bob, unaongeza tu kitu mtu aja kuforce, aja kuambia,
that's exactly what I do. Yes.
But wewe tu kama, you know, you're just like, hey bro, you carried me from Syokimau to Westlands. I don't think I should give you 300, you know, or 600 or something of the sort. Mato, what do you think?
No, absolutely. Especially like we come on this show every day, we complain about watu kukosa utu huko nje. Alafu wewe ndio uko hapa Aseli unasema mtu atakupeleka South Africa na 80 bob. Wacha hizo. Kuwa na decency, kuwa na utu.
It's an
Consider that this is a man who are or lady, because
Cindy will agree with me that it's contractual agreement.
Decency umetoa, nyamaza ngoje niongee. Mtu ameshinda kwa hiyo kiti the whole day, all for 12 to 18 hours. Can you imagine his back position? Ile uchungu anasikia kwa mgongo ni aje. The fatigue, the tiredness that he has, especially because the amount of money he's getting. Kenyans, the way we know ourselves, sisi, we want to get the least amount possible, for sure. And then still the Kenyans, we know, we have the middlemen who want to get the most amount. So, tunayoyo hapo hivyo. We spend a lot more than we need to, or sometimes we pay less than we need to.
Macho, let me ask you, would you pay the 600?
I would not pay the 600, especially because I'm in ambush after tumefika. Tungeongea kabla tutoke. I would have considered it.
Cindy, your thoughts real quick in 30 seconds.
I'd say maybe the way the driver handled it, he was frustrated.
Yes.
And then when he 390, fanya hivi, and there are drivers who come and ask me that, ongeza kakitu, that gives me leeway. But to say ni 600, your math is not mathing. Especially after SHA deduction, your math is not mathing.
It's not mathing. That's the thing. We're in such difficult positions, guys, because unaelewa, people need to make a living. You also need to make a living. It's just such a difficult place to be. But thank you so much for joining us. Hashtag has been TTTT. We're getting into the news now, but when we're back, Nubia are in studio. We'll also be talking to the founder of ISIS Models. She is an award-winning presidential award from Joe Biden. Big deal. But of course, for now, we're getting into the news. Thank you so much, Mato. Thank you, Aseli. Thank you, Cindy. Have a good evening. We'll see you at 10.